us need heroes. Those people who inspire us and motivate us to be our best, and we usually look somewhere else for them, right? What if every person in this room was already a hero? You touch anyone that you come in contact with. You leave your legacy wherever you go. So what I'd like to talk about today is the amazing power that every single one of us already possess. However, most of the time, or some of the time, the trouble is we don't even realize that we have these powers. We get sidetracked into believing that we're not as amazing. We believe in our limitations. Well, let me show you. Being very careful not to hit the person next to you. Would you put your arm out like so for a second? We're kind of crowded, so be careful. Okay, now bring it up. Okay, now put your index finger and your thumb together. Okay? And imagine there's a great deal of pressure on the fingernail and a great deal of pressure on the knuckle, and keeping the same degree of pressure, very quickly bring your hand to your chin. Okay, now for many of you, this is not your chin. It has absolutely nothing to do, of course, with our IQ. It's whether we're visual or auditory. The visual people are always, kind of waiting to see what's next. And the auditory people are usually waiting for the visual people to catch on. I was somewhere the other day, and in the second row, and there was this guy that was going back and forth, and I think he finally decided to go with what he saw rather than what he heard. But I did this for a more important reason. Mind is an amazing thing. Even though we know exactly what we want, where we need to go, it is so easy to get sidetracked. And that's what I'd like to talk about today. We think, it's been said, 60,000 thoughts a day, and 90% are repeats. So we are recycling old beliefs, sometimes sabotaging beliefs, certainly limiting beliefs, and we're not aware of the amazing qualities, the hero qualities, the superhero qualities that all of us possess. Sometimes you probably know somebody even who kind of gives up, goes to sleep on their life. There's a saying, people die in their 20s. They just wait till their 80s to be buried. I am delighted to be here. I love GAWN. I love everything about GAWN. I love speaking at GAWN, and I love the topic that I'm talking about, heroes. However, this is interactive, and I don't have a microphone. So, as you already noticed, feel free. If you don't hear me, or maybe it's not only me talking, maybe I hear something brilliant from this table, and you don't hear in the back. So I thought we'd do a couple of hand signals before we get going. So if you don't hear me or anybody that might be talking, would you do this? Would you practice this once? I want you to feel comfortable doing it. Thank you. If someone says something and you just love it, we've got a lot of smart people in this room, and she says something great and you want it repeated, I thought this was this goes well in Texas too. Would you practice this? Thank you. And this was not my idea, but I was somewhere talking to a group and I said, I wonder what happens if something just doesn't make sense, or you don't agree. And this man went, so, seriously, if you feel free to go, really, or something, feel free. You want to try it once? Okay, perfect. That's it. It's interactive, so thank you. So I'd like to talk about 5 hero powers that every single woman and man in this room possess. And they're from the latest book that I have on power that I gave one away a second ago. And the first power, naturally, that every one of us has. And again, this is all about how can I recognize and leverage my powers to be even more effective and brilliant than I already am. First power is attitude, obviously. It's never what happens to us, it's what we choose to do about it. Misery's optional, so is joy. Happiness is a choice and a skill. How many of you have ever had a bad day? Now, my belief is we don't have the whole bad day unless we choose to kind of drag it or carry it with us. And that takes awareness, what am I thinking? And it takes energy to stay focused. And how many of you have all the energy that you want? Would you raise your hand? Oh, good. Okay, how much? Of course, the exercise person in the back. How many of you would like more energy? Would you raise your hand? Okay, how many of you don't have enough energy to raise your hand? Would you raise your hand? Doesn't it take energy, though, to really focus and be what we want to be. There's one tool that I love to talk about that has everything to do with our attitude. Now, if you've heard me speak before, and I have the good fortune to know I've seen several of you at things that I've talked about, where I've talked, is the acronym FIDO. Now, briefly, FIDO comes from a Vietnam vet who was in a terrible battle, and he was in an army hospital for months and so angry and bitter, and he finally realized, I've got to let go of all of this if I'm going to move on. So there's 3 different areas of FIDO that are really important. The first is, how many of you know somebody that still talks about a cubicle that somebody got that was bigger than their cubicle, or a face, right? Something they hold on, or maybe somebody that made a face at them or said something. People hold on. Almost they bring it up as a hobby. Let me tell you why I'm still unhappy. Being martyrs and victims are very boring people. However, there's something more important with FIDO. It's every single day, all the time. Pay attention to what I'm thinking. But I got to tell you, people are not going to change because we don't like how they're acting. People are going to stay in the passing lane going 10 miles below the speed limit, whether we like it or not. I came back late last night from speaking in D.C., and there was a woman who hit another woman as she's pulling her suitcase out. The woman who got hit went, oh, the woman who hit her smiled and walked off. Now, didn't say a thing. My point is, people don't behave the way we want. We have to make a choice. And they say you teach what you have to learn. This is why I get road rage easily. So you have to do it. So think about it for a second. Think about the last time you felt really great, really happy, how it felt. Think about the last time you felt really angry, how it felt. Now, which choice are you going to make? We get to choose every second how I'm going to respond. Now, the other part of FIDO that's so important is forgive. Anybody who's done anything to you, they do not deserve it. But you do. You don't want to have a piece of them around you. And more importantly, is a reminder to forgive yourself. Most of us have done something we wish we hadn't. It took me years to get over and forgive myself for getting married at 17. This was not a wise life choice, but you keep talking about it and thinking about it. I'm not going to get where I need to get. It's going to sap my energy. The last part of FIDO is remembering the listen to the voice that's going on in our head all the time. They say we have a dialogue, 600 to 800 words a minute. And so often it's telling us what we don't want to do. I can't believe I put my foot in my mouth. When are you ever going to get it? That's so stupid. We talk to ourselves. So almost imagine you had a remote control. Switch the channel. Don't give it power. I used to talk about ants, automatic negative thought syndrome, arguing against this little voice. Don't even argue against it. It's not real. It's something that's been programmed in a long time ago. It's habitual thinking. So simply change the channel to one of power. Because we are heroes. And people, again, model and watch what we're doing, whether we realize it or not. An attitude is enormous. So after the power attitude, another power that every hero has to have, of course, is X-ray vision. How can I see through that problem person to his or her potential? And how do I see the problem, through the problem, to all sorts of solutions? Well, the first part of this is Carnegie, many years ago, made lots of millionaires, more millionaires than anyone. And he was interviewed, and he was asked, how'd you do it? And he said, it's very simple. It's a lot like digging for gold. You have to dig past the dirt to the part that shines. So, quickly, a personal story. I have a son who is dyslexic, who had terrible trouble reading in school, had all kinds of issues, was very unhappy. Took him to a neurologist out in Great Neck, Long Island, did a battery of tests on my son, and then when my son couldn't hear, took me aside and said, send Michael to a nice vocational school. He's not smart enough for college. And I remember thinking, he has no idea how smart my son is. He's just smart in different ways. And I'm going to wait as long as I can wait before I tell him that he's not smart enough for college. So once he got his master's in forensic science, 4 Point, National University, San Diego, and a scholarship to Oxford, I told him what the doctor had said. But my point is, every woman and every man, if we had lots of time and we went around, has the same story. Somebody you believe in so strongly. So wouldn't it be cool if everybody that we saw It was part of the way we habitual thinking. We saw through the dirt to the part that shone. But the other side of X-ray vision is, if you think of it, we all have this boundary, maybe a huge boundary, of our limitations based on the beliefs we have. With my education, I can do this, or I can't do this, or I'm this old, or I'm this young, or my talents are. That's well and good. However, it's simply just a boundary. So is it going to be a boundary that's going to expand? Or are we going to, again, well, this is all I can do? There's this great song by Dinah Washington, I think from years ago, called What a Difference a Day Makes. So here's the point. You meet one person this afternoon. One thing happens you weren't prepared for. One idea. It's going to blow that boundary to bits. We don't want to see any boundary. We want to see very clearly. Remember Covey said, begin with the end in mind. Not a little end, but the most spectacular thing. Heroes see what everybody else can't see. Others can't see what you see, your passion, your vision, your belief, and you want to pull them on board. So I'm going to give you a vision of that. Would you mind, you're so close, could I get you to help me? Could you stand right up there for a second? I'm going to, every once in a blue moon, I forget to bring film, and it's embarrassing, but I think film is in here. Excuse us a second. Stand. Okay, no. No. We're doing a little dance. Okay, all right. Perfect. Oh, perfect. Now smile. Look happy and relaxed. And hopefully film. Oh, okay. Thank you. Would you give her a round of applause? And because I know this woman dressed in gator colors, I know she's going to be honest. I'm going to put the film right there and just leave it. Thank you. So we know the power. I'm not telling you what you don't know. This is probably why you're so successful. We know the power. You know the power of visualization, of seeing it already, making it bigger, brighter, whatever it is, whether other people can see it or not. That's how Michael Phelps won all the won all the medals. Bob Bowman, his coach, taught Michael to see each meet how he wanted to swim. He called it Michael, play your video. That's how Muhammad Ali, I had the good fortune to do a story on Ali years ago. And he said, I said I was the greatest, even before I knew it was true. It's this amazing seeing it like we've already got it, whether anybody else sees it or not. And it was Helen Keller who said, how sad people have 20/20 eyesight and no vision. So, because I know you are perfect at demonstrating this, I want you to help me with something. I've got a deck of cards, because cards are, what do you mean, yay? Cards are about the easiest thing. And every once in a while, as I'm trying to make sure that they're all different, I mess them up and drop them. Just tell me where to stop anytime. Before we get to the end. Oh, thank you. Look at the card.
Got it.
Would you help her remember the card? Would you be gracious enough to make sure they're not set? You know, sometimes cards are not, you know, that they're not a fake deck. They don't have little bumps or they don't stick together. All the things that magicians can do with cards. They're a regular deck, right? Thank you. So what I'd ask you to do is whatever card you selected, which could be anyone, correct? I want you to simply visualize that card right up here on the wall with you. Because that's what it's all about. We create from nothing. There's nothing up there. And yet they're everything, depending on our belief, our passion. Destiny, see whether there's anything in the picture with her, would you? Is there something? Hang on, what card did you pick?
2 diamonds.
What card's in the picture with her? Okay, the photographer is really lousy. However, there is a 2 of diamonds. Feel free to come and talk with her later. Ask her how she did it. Would you give the woman a round of applause? Thank you, my dear, for being so gracious. So we've got attitude. Every hero must have attitude. By the way, magic is simply a metaphor to remind all of you successful people that there's no such thing as impossible. It's simply how we look at something. Then we talked about the power of vision, seeing past our limitations, seeing through what someone else says. Oh, don't mess with him, don't mess with her. Then the next power that goes without saying, all of us possess, is magnetism. Man, that's an important power, but all that is helping people feel comfortable, bringing them to us. How do we do that? We do it by making people feel important. Remember the old MMFI, the radio station, Make Me Feel Important? We do it by listening, truly listening to understand. By the way, it would probably put people off, but if you close your eyes, that's the best way to listen. It distracts, everything else is gone. You hear what they're saying. And of course, using your emotional intelligence. We know that's just the people skills, but you have no idea how many people don't have emotional intelligence. No, Jamie, you are incorrect. This can't be right. She said 10 minutes, so I will. Okay, I'm going to speak in double talk because we have to do 2 more powers. Anyhow, emotional intelligence is huge. Let me tell you very quickly what emotional intelligence is not. I got a massage not too long ago, and I was injured, and I asked the masseuse if she could, help work on the leg, and she said, "Oh, it's inflamed. I can't work on that. You need to go to a doctor." I said, "What's inflamed? Is it a muscle, a tendon?" "I don't know. I didn't take that much anatomy, just enough to get my license." "Oh, and you've got varicose veins, and they can have spider veins, and they can have blood clots, and that can be dangerous. I'm not working on those either." And I thought, she's so terrible. And use her. She's amazing. It would have taken this many more words to say something kind. We need people that can understand what does somebody need, that kindness, building that rapport. Okay, if I don't get to the last power, we're for sure going to get to this one because it's the most important power of all. Now, it's called courageous courage. I know that's redundant, but that's what I put in my book. The importance of being brave. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is a catalyst for change. We can't stay comfortable. Speak up at the meeting, disagree, ask, take your idea back. If somebody interrupts, keep on talking, whatever it is, get comfortable being uncomfortable. How many of you have ever failed at something? How many of you learn more when you fail? It's enormous. We've got to take risks. And at the risk of talking over, I'm going to kind of pull out a few of the things that I wanted to say, but just remind you, it's so important. I want to give you a visual of the power of risk-taking. Might I borrow, and remember, risk-taking is important. Might I borrow a $100 bill from someone in the audience, please? Feel free to get comfortable, reach in your wallet, reach in your pocket, reach in. Wow! Okay, would you give, I know this moment, would you give Maya a big round of applause? I need you to come up and take care of the bill. Okay. Would you sign your bill? So should we see it again? Just, any kind of sign. Perfect. Now, would you hold it up where everybody can see that you've really signed the bill? Perfect. Now, if I could have the money, please. I always ask, I never get, so I'm thrilled she happens to have one. Okay, we're going to fold it once, we're going to fold it twice, we're going to fold it 3 times. I have inside my briefcase 3 envelopes with a piece of paper folded almost identical to your money. Would you take them, the envelopes, and hold them up one by one so that people can see there's something inside each. It's just not money. I'm going to take the last envelope and put the money inside. There should be something inside over here. Is it? You don't want to open them, just make sure there's something inside. Okay? Good. Now, if I may take these back. And again, it's about risk-taking. And so I ask you, and I'll be very slow, tell me which envelope has the generously donated $100 bill. Do you know which one? Yeah. Third. Okay. We don't have time for this. I'm going to have to cheat and mark on them and try to fool you by doing it real quickly and throwing you off. So perhaps you will not notice which one has the money inside, but I know I have a very smart audience here. Okay, round of applause very quickly. How many of you think Kai has generously donated? $100 bill is in, which one? I'm working on it. Which one? Oh, in envelope 1, round of applause. Yeah, good. Okay, thank you. One individual. Envelope 2.
this for our big finale. We're going to take the other three that, of course, we know have nothing inside. And since it's always about taking, you notice how fun they're having, it's not their fun. Now, I want to point out there's absolutely no problem with this. I can get back to Webb Hilton in Reno, Nevada with this trick, but probably nothing will happen. Now, the point is, she had a 1 in 4 chance that something could go wrong. But may I say one more time, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Would you please give me the envelope? She marked her first name on it, and I would like to open it up here. And without even looking, if I could have you open it up here. I get excited, so I'm troubled. Okay. Would you please hold your hand out? They all applauded for 3.
I'm passing a hat.
A small error has crept in. Maya's lucky number is probably not 3. However, in all seriousness, I would hope you had about $100 worth of fun. Okay, and inside this briefcase, what do you think I have? No. I have a wallet with a zipper all the way around, but what do you think I have inside? $100. No. I have an envelope with 3 seals on the back, and at the front it says take risks. And if I now ask you to pull out your hand, would you see whether or not it's your $100? Does it have your name on it? Yeah. Would you give the woman a So I have enough time to very, very briefly, and thank you, Hire. The last brief power is serendipity. It's not a real word, but I made it up. I figured I could. Now you attract opportunity and you create love. It's all about appreciation. There's a hero button on everybody's place on the table. Take your hero button down. Find somebody that did something and say thank you. Or I appreciate who you are, or I appreciate what you do. We want to start an epidemic of appreciation because it's appreciating for what we've got. We've heard you talk about the amazing town we live in, the people here, and it's also appreciating. Less than 60% of the workforce, less than 60% are ever told, it costs nothing and it means everything. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book, The Tipping Point, said it takes 1 or 2 people to change any culture, to change anything. It takes a hero. It takes one of you. The greatest example of the courage to get rid of, to stay out from everybody else, is a National Geographic show I saw years ago of a water buffalo herd watching a lion attack a calf. Finally, one water buffalo stepped out, looked around, nobody followed. He went over and started with his horns taking the lions off. Then a second one followed the first. Finally, the whole herd went over and the calf was saved. It takes just one of you, because what you see and do, others can't. And we desperately need heroes. Nkosi Johnson, a Zulu boy who was born HIV positive and knew he would never live to adulthood, said, do what you can with what you've got, where you are right now. We lead from where we stand. So may I ask you to take 30 seconds and talk to somebody. I've got about 2 minutes left now. And tell them in 30 seconds, what did you like? What was the gift of the time that, what a privilege to get to talk to you this morning or afternoon. 30 seconds, what you liked about the program, what gift, and then I'd like a couple of you to tell me, and then we're going to do something really quick with our hands and turn it back over to powers that be. So take maybe 20 seconds. What did you hear at your table, or what did you like? What was the gift of the time that we had together? Anyone?
Inspiration.
Inspiration. Okay, plain old inspiration. Thank you so much. I'd love to give you a copy of Zap Pal Kazan. Just more hero powers. What else? What did you get?
Positive.
What was
That's
that?
the book. Positivity.
Positivity. The incredible important. We get to choose. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be happy. Okay, I'd like to give you a copy of my favorite, the Fido Philosophy. How to forget it in my mind. And normally I throw these things when I'm a bad.
I was going to say, not just the positivity, but the specific quality about it. You were pinpointing things. It wasn't just a pie in the sky, think good thoughts. It was, no, change your attitude, be focused.
Thank you, because I can think positive all day and feel miserable. I want to know what can I do specifically and remind myself. I don't need to buy into my limitations. Would you pass this over? Yes.
Take risks.
Take risks. Absolutely. And Destiny.
Do with what you have where you're at right now.
Because it's so easy to say, one of these days, when I have time, when I get to come up, we have no idea. Oh, we've got time. We have time. Do you have one of these? Yes. Oh, you do. Do you have one of the others? Do you have anything you don't have? Yes, sir. One more, and then two more, and then we'll do
I think the most
a
important thing,
three more. Okay.
everyone has the power to be that hero.
Everyone in this room. Don't buy what someone says. I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I don't have enough. It's irrelevant. You know what you are. And again, we forget. We get so busy just doing what we need to do. Thank you. And in the back, yes?
90% of our thoughts are recycled, and it made me think of the quote from Abraham Hicks, do you believe that your beliefs are thoughts you keep on thinking? And so that just has been playing through my head while you were talking.
It's in a loop, and we've got to go, wait, I can break this loop. I just haven't had time. I haven't thought about it. That's not real. I can change the channel. Do you have either of these? Okay, do you have either of these? Pick one. Okay. Would you mind passing this back to my friend Danielle? And one more, you said, yes?
We were talking about courage. Being comfortable, and I actually wear courage every day just to keep going for it.
We've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I have for you, because I ran out of books, your very own Fido dog. With him. He is wonderful. He will keep you courageous. There you go. Thank you. Would you put your hands together? The thumb is on top. Thank you. Which thumb is on top? Which pinky is on the bottom, okay? Take them apart. Put the opposite thumb on the top. The opposite pinky on the bottom. And how's it feel? Weird. Does it feel weird? Or a little strange or awkward or uncomfortable? I did it to remind us. Oh, take them apart. To remind us so often we start something, we try something, and maybe it feels great. On the other hand, maybe you try something and it feels, what'd you say, weird, awkward, uncomfortable. And so many people will drop a new idea like a hot potato if it doesn't work perfectly the first time. The difference between mediocrity and greatness is not IQ, it is not EQ, it is tenacity. I'm simply going to keep on keeping on no matter what happens. Now, if any of you out there doubt the power of tenacity, when you go home tonight, because we are habitual thinkers, move a bathroom wastebasket and see how many days the paper hits the floor. We are creatures of habit. And so if we're tenacious, we can change that habit. And so eventually, the new way will feel right. And eventually, the old way will feel wrong. And in case you are wondering, why is she standing up there tearing up paper? It's a reminder. It was Will Rogers who said, even if you're on the right track, you're going to get run over if you just sit there. Knowledge without action is useless. It's taking one thing and deciding you're going to do it after today. And if you don't, it's like taking your precious, valuable time and just tearing it up. And quite frankly, I don't think there's a man or a woman in this room who can afford to tear up your precious, valuable time. But if you make a commitment to yourself, one thing, two things that you can do after today, you really are creating your very own magic. You really are the hero that we so desperately need. Thank you.